Well, hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe. Thanks for tuning in to Rosenfield 10, where I cover our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. And today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to take a very early look at the 2026 quarterback class. For the upcoming draft, we're going to talk about the quarterbacks that are draft eligible, and we're keeping this in perspective for the Saints. Now, right now, we've got Spencer Rattler playing pretty good football. There's been two games in the regular season for the Saints so far, and I think that Rattler's looking pretty good. We've also got a second round draft pick quarterback in Tyler Shuck sitting on the bench waiting in the wings. And a lot of us think that he may need a few games so we can determine what we've got with him as well. And I'm here to say either one of them could play the whole season. You still don't have enough to go on to know for sure whether either of these guys is your franchise quarterback. I'm still of the belief that Tyler Shuck is going to get his chance. And I'm also of the belief that Rattler's playing good enough where you don't need to bench him. So it's kind of a conundrum. But regardless of how all of this turns out and how all of us feel about it in the end, if we have a bad record overall this year, it'll put us in position to draft a quarterback in the first round. And that's something the Saints have only done once in their franchise's existence. And it's supposed to be a really good quarterback class. So I figure we're going to take a look at some quarterbacks. We're going to talk about these quarterbacks. I'll do this once a month, and we're going to update the list as the college season goes along. And we're going to see if any of these guys are so good that we want to make a move to go and get them, regardless of how Rattler or Shuck play. I think drafting a quarterback in the first round is in play for the Saints. Now, Rattler keeps playing this well. I don't think you spend a first round pick on a quarterback next year, but that's a whole other discussion. This video is about looking at the quarterbacks that are draft eligible in the upcoming draft and talking about a few of them in each episode. So I'll do this once a month. And the list I'm going to show you is 33 players. These are all draft eligible quarterbacks. And the issue with the ranking is it's going to change, and it's going to change drastically. This initial ranking that I'm showing you is pretty much a preseason ranking. We've already got 3 games in college football season under these guys' belts, and a lot of this has already changed drastically. Arch Manning comes to mind. But these outlets like to have a good month under their belt before they put out their quarterback rankings, and I'm going to refer to all of them when that happens. This initial list is kind of a combination of how these guys were ranked going into the season with some modifications. So, the first list I'm going to show you is 9 players. These are the 9 guys that had everyone talking about this quarterback class. Even before the 2025 NFL draft, people were talking about how this 2026 class of quarterback was going to be great. These are the 9 guys that they were thinking of at the time. And like I said, the next video I do, these rankings are going to change completely. This initial list, and I'm going to show you 33 total, but this initial list of 9 players are 9 players that were expected to go in the first or second round of the upcoming draft. These were the 9 guys that made this class so great. So we're talking about Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU, Lenoris Sellers out of South Carolina, Arch Manning out of Texas, Cade Klubnik out of Clemson, Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana, Drew Aller out of Penn State, John Mateer out of Oklahoma, Carson Beck out of Miami, and Sam Levitt, Arizona State. Now, there's a lot of other quarterbacks. We're going to bring up the rest of the list in a second, but these were the 9 that were at the top of most places' lists. These were the guys that were competing for that first round, second round selection, and yeah, these were the guys that were supposed to be your franchise quarterback of the future. A guy you can't pass on if you have an early pick in the first round. A lot of this has changed since the first 3 games. Lenore Sellers is struggling a bit. Arch Manning is struggling a lot. Cade Klubnik is struggling a whole lot. And, some like John Mateer and Carson Beck are looking really, really good. So when this next list comes up, you might see John Mateer and Carson Beck at the top. But these are the 9 guys. And I think regardless of quarterback, how these quarterbacks perform throughout this season, there's still going to be drastic changes in their rankings. I'll give you an example. The Saints drafted Tyler Shuck in the second round this past draft. When the college football season ended, the consensus at the time was that Shuck would be probably around a fourth round pick, maybe third round pick. But once you have the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl and the pro days and the NFL teams interviewing and then the scouting combine, all of this happens and then the rankings change drastically again. And they did for Tyler Shuck. He went from being a fourth round projection to a second round projection after his final year of college football had ended. So it's all based on all kinds of stuff, especially when these NFL teams get involved. The rumor mill starts to churn and it has an effect. I mean, we saw it. Shuck was always around a third or fourth round selection, and then the day before the draft, people were saying he could go in the first round, probably go in the second round. That's what happened. So these lists will change. Let's pull up the rest of them so you can have 33 guys to look at here. All right, so yeah, that's the group of them right there. I think all of these quarterbacks who are draft eligible right now are the ones that are making waves so far. A lot of these players won't even get drafted. This is 33 quarterbacks. You're not going to see that many drafted. But let's take a look at some of them. And like I said, these aren't in a particular order. These are just draft eligible quarterbacks. Some of these may not get drafted. A lot of these will probably get drafted on day 3. But let's look at them anyway. Diego Pavia out of Vanderbilt. Taylon Green out of Arkansas. Gunnar Stockton out of Georgia. Nico, I'm not saying that last name. I- Iamaliva? Iamaliva? UCLA. That guy's been through it, right? I wouldn't draft him, but he's at the top of this list. This list, by the way, is pretty much a collection of how these quarterbacks were ranked in several draft simulators. So there's some validity to the list, but like I said, this is a preliminary list. This is before any of these guys even played this year. Darian Menza, formerly of Tulane, now with Duke. C.J. Bailey, North Carolina State. Marcel Reed, Texas A&M. Joey Aguilar, Tennessee. Blake Shapen, Mississippi State. Ty Simpson, Alabama. Now you notice I've thrown in just about all of the quarterbacks from the SEC on this list. The ones that are sort of relevant right now. Some of them are playing awful right now and aren't on this list. The kid from Florida comes to mind, but he may very well be a draft pick if he turns the season together turns the season around. So, you know, the people on this list may change as well. Sawyer Robertson out of Baylor, Thomas Castellanos, Florida State, Baron Morton, Texas Tech, Byram Brown, South Florida, Bo Prabula, Missouri. Rocco Becht, Iowa State. Jalen Daniels, Kansas. Jake Ratzlaff, Tulane. Connor Wiegman, Houston. Brendan Sorsby, Cincinnati. Jackson Arnold, Auburn. Luke Altmaier, Illinois. Noah Fafita, Arizona. Miller Moss, Louisville. I've left a lot of quarterbacks off of here. This is 33 of them. It's a big list. Usually don't get that many quarterbacks drafted in a class. So the next video I do, I'm going to have these arranged based on how they are performing right now with the draft in mind. This is, like I said, kind of a preseason ranking. Now, I have a few guys on this bottom tier that I've moved up because of their performances this year. Now, some of them may be first round projections right now. If you ask the majority of the outlets who's the best quarterback in college football right now, a lot of them are saying it's Taylor Green out of Arkansas. Yeah, I have him on the bottom tier. He's not in the top tier, which I expect to be first or second round picks. A lot of people are saying Arch Manning is a day three pick if he keeps playing like this. Personally, I think Arch Manning is going to go back to school. If this is his first season, he's going to have a whole other year before he comes out in the draft. And because his name is Manning, he'll be drafted in the second round regardless of how bad he plays anyway. I truly believe that. But a guy like Cade Klubnik, who could have came out last year and been a fourth round or fifth round pick, he's trying to be in that first or second round conversation. He keeps playing the way he's playing. There's no way anyone's going to spend a pick in day one or day two on him. So a lot of this is in flux, but we have a list here. I promised you I was going to give you a list, and that's a list. And every month I'm going to revisit this and we're going to rank these players on the next list. But this is a big sample of it. You guys let me know which one of these guys is looking pretty good to you right now. And I'm going to highlight 5 of them. I'm not going to highlight anyone in the top tier for a while. Bellamy, you're sitting on my homework. This cat, I swear, he loves his dad. I'm going to show you 5 of the quarterbacks on this list, and we'll talk about them a little bit. Like I say, I'm not a scouting expert. I'm just watching as many highlights as I can every week from college football. I'm trying to see from a fan's layman eyes who's impressive to me. I keep in mind what you need to do in the NFL to make it. So some of these guys are really good college quarterbacks like Thomas Castellanos for Florida State, really good player. And when I watch him, I just keep thinking, yeah, he's really good, but does it translate to the NFL? Kind of like Kellen Moore, our current head coach for the Saints, greatest college quarterback in college football history, right? Couldn't make it in the league. So yeah, you can be great in college and not make it in the league. I'm not an expert scout, but I'm looking at these players and I'm trying to see if what they do could translate into the league. And I'm going to highlight 5 of them right now. I'm going to start with Byron Brown out of South Florida. Byron Brown is a senior. He's 6'3", 231 pounds. This is a big dude. When he takes off running, he is tough to bring down. He's not a great runner. He's not super fast at all, but he's strong and he can break tackles when he's running. So far in this college season, after 3 games, Byron Brown is 59 out of 96. That's a 61.5% completion percentage, 747 yards, an average of 7.8 yards an attempt. And he has 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. His rating right now is 131.6. He's been sacked 7 times. So, being sacked 7 times scares me. And that's one of the issues. people have with Byron Brown. It's an issue that he's got to get fixed. For a guy as big as he is, 231 pounds, I've seen him break away from defensive linemen when he's in the pocket about to be sacked. I've seen him break a tackle from a defensive lineman to get away from a sack. However, doesn't do that a lot. He can, but he just doesn't. He gets sacked. He takes a lot of sacks. And as big as he is, once he starts running, it shows way more than in the pocket. But I've seen him break away in the pocket from defensive linemen. He's strong. He's a senior, so he's not going to get much more time to get better. 2 touchdowns through 3 games is not very good at all. Another problem with Brown is he has a weird passing angle with his arm, pulls it back really far, and that's going to be an issue in the league. So there's some mechanics he might need to work on. However, I like what I see. I like his decision making, and he's hot and cold. And I really like his accuracy. He's got great arm strength. So Byron Brown, impressive to me so far. It's because South Florida has won these games they really weren't supposed to. Of the 5 quarterbacks I'm going to talk about today, South Florida's had the hardest schedule so far. Byron Brown has beaten Miami, they've beaten Florida, and they've beaten Boise State. So we're talking about 3 programs, that are pretty good. Nobody else has a murderer's row like that on their resume so far this year. So I've given Byron Brown the benefit of the doubt. Not a lot of people are talking about him, even though South Florida's doing really well. And maybe it's because it's pretty obvious with that big passing motion that he has and, his inability to escape sacks, which I know he can do. Maybe that's why people aren't high on him. But I wanted to mention him. He's doing good so far, and let's see. His numbers may explode when USF is playing within their conference and, lower teams. The next guy I want to mention is Bo Pribula out of Missouri. He's been very impressive watching their highlights so far. Missouri has played Louisiana, they've played Kansas, and they've played Central Arkansas. Pribula is a senior. He is 6'2", 212 pounds. So far this college season, he's been 68 out of 89. That's a completion percentage of 76.4. Wow. 791 yards, 7 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Pribula's one of them guys where I watch him and I think maybe he doesn't have the size and there's some other things about him. It doesn't translate to the NFL. Maybe Pribula is a good college quarterback and it won't make it in the NFL, but it's pretty impressive. 76% completion percentage so far. A lot of yards and 7 touchdowns. So he's an SEC quarterback. He's going to play a lot of really good teams. And we're going to see how he fares against this competition he's going to have to face. But right now, he's looking great. Right now, I'm loving a lot of what I'm seeing from him. If I mention a quarterback, if I highlight a quarterback, he's got to be accurate and he's got to be quick on his reads. And those are the things I look for before everything else. Arm strength's great, but your ability to read a defense, to get rid of the ball quickly, a lot of that you don't see in college quarterbacks. I'm looking for accuracy. I'm looking for, ball placement, stuff like that. It doesn't get better than 76.4% accuracy. So Bo Pribula, a guy from Missouri, and I've got my eye on him, even though he's not big. We'll see what happens. The next guy I'm going to mention, a guy that I don't think is going to come out in the draft, but he's draft eligible. He's a sophomore this year, and that's C.J. Bailey out of North Carolina State. Yeah, he pops during the highlight reels all year long so far. NC State has played Wake Forest, they've played Virginia, and they've played East Carolina. And they're looking really good. C.J. Bailey is 6'6", 210 pounds. He's really tall, pretty thin for as tall as he is. And he's got some solid numbers right now. 63 out of 89, which is 70.8% completion. 719 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. His rating's like 156. He's only been sacked twice. Bailey to me looks like a guy that's got a lot going on, and I love everything about him. I mean, he's quick, he's accurate, and he's so tall. He puts on a couple extra pounds, and yeah, he could be an all-around guy. The thing is, he looks like a sophomore to me, and he is a sophomore. So I think he should go back at least one more year in college, work on some of this stuff. Uh, they've played Wake Forest, Virginia. They've played some decent competition, and he looks really good so far. But I just think he's young. But I really like what I see so far. All of these quarterbacks I've mentioned so far, Byron Brown, Bo Perbula, and C.J. Bailey. Yeah, these are all like day three considerations in the draft for me. I wouldn't take a chance. Now, this is as it stands right now. I wouldn't spend a day one or day two pick on any of these guys, but they're guys that I like and they're guys that I'm mentioning because I'm going to keep my eye on them. And if they do blow up, I've got this video to say, hey, look, I noticed that. I've also got this video to say, hey, look, I thought this guy was going to be something and he wasn't. I like putting this stuff out. I like talking about these things that I'm seeing. If I'm going to watch all these highlights and I'm going to have a channel, I want my Saints brethren to experience what I'm experiencing. So those three quarterbacks are guys that I like right now, and I'm going to mention two that I'm really, really, really high on, and I'm going to start with Behren Morton out of Texas Tech. He's a senior. I don't see anybody ranking him. I mean, even in the top 300 right now of players. But yeah, I think this guy is really good through 3 games. Texas Tech has only played Oregon State, Kent State, and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Man, Bellamy, you are driving me crazy with all this fur. Oh my God. I love my cats though. Okay, so Behren Morton looks really good to me. 6'2", 220 pounds. Ah, I wish he was an inch taller, 2 inches taller, but he's not. Right now, his numbers 57 out of 81. That's 70.4% completion, 923 yards. That's 11.4. Whew. 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. Yeah, he is lighting it up and he's looking really good. And the best competition he's played so far is Oregon State. So he's going to have to show this throughout the season. He's going to have to maintain this. But right now, he's got a rating of 208.4. He's only been sacked twice. Behren Morton is my guy right now. Of all the ones that I've seen, that's the one I'm impressed with. And he has a backup who got to come in and play and looks really good too. So Texas Tech may have this offense, which makes these quarterbacks look better than they would be in the NFL. There may be a translation that doesn't happen regarding quarterbacks from Texas Tech. If you're a college football expert and you want to let me know about that, please do. But not a lot of people are talking about Behren Morton right now, and I'm highlighting. I like him, and I'm interested in watching every Texas Tech highlight reel just to see if he keeps this up. So I got that check next to Morton for me here in this video forever. And the next guy I'm going to talk about, the last one I'm going to focus on for this video, is quarterback Ty Simpson out of Alabama, the junior. I'm pretty sure he was a backup, but Alabama has that first game against Florida State and looks awful. And everyone laughs, and Alabama's a failure. And, you know, I'm an LSU fan, so I loved it. Um, I hope that they don't perform well and LSU can beat them this year and LSU wins the SEC, and that's what I'm all about here in Louisiana. But I got to give credit where credit is due. Alabama's quarterback Ty Simpson looks very good. 6'2", he's only 208 pounds. Yeah, that sucks. But 64 out of 89, that's 71.9% completion, 862 yards. He has 9 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. So Alabama may have lost that game to Florida State, but and Simpson was sacked 3 times in that game, but Simpson looks pretty good. Didn't turn the ball over. Didn't throw an interception, pardon me, and hasn't thrown an interception yet. Besides Florida State, Alabama has played Louisiana Monroe and they've played Wisconsin. So let's see if Ty Simpson can keep this up. He's got a rating of 186.6 right now, almost 72% completion. Simpson and Barron Morton are the two guys that are most impressive to me right now through the early going. People love that quarterback from Arkansas, and we're going to take a look at him, and we're going to take a look at a few others throughout this series. So if you're a Saints fan, subscribe to Rosenfield 10. And if you're interested in the quarterback class, subscribe to the channel. I'll be talking about them. I'll do another one like this next month. We're going to have them ranked based on a collection of national rankings. And towards the end of the year, I'll be highlighting the players that are on the top of the list. Right now, for the first couple of videos, I want to highlight some that I like. I'm writing down the names of the guys that I like, and then I'm going and looking at their numbers. I wrote these guys' names down. I didn't know what the numbers were supposed to be. That's how the numbers turned out. So I guess I'm seeing something that translates. Byron Brown's interesting, but yeah, Perbula may be a college guy. CJ Bailey may need some more time. But Baron Morton and Ty Simpson, oh, I love those guys right now. So yeah, subscribe and we'll see how all this turns out toward the end of the year. And in the off season, I continue covering the college prospects through the lens of the New Orleans Saints, what we need. I do positional breakdowns and we talk about lots of players, hundreds of players on this channel. So subscribe. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?